many people are here interested in real estate? I'm just curious. Wow, nice. All right. My name is Antonio Edwards. I've been in the real estate business. I came in the crash in 2009. I've pretty much seen it all in the single family world for the most part. Flipped well over 400 transactions, helped thousands of students around the country. I just love real estate because it builds cash flow, and there's a lot of tax shields in real estate that allows me to live a evergreen lifestyle. So real estate is definitely probably the best vehicle that you can build that security blanket around you, per se. In my personal opinion, that's that you can look and be like, you know, when I'm 60 years old, man, I got these properties that's going to take care of me, whether it's residential or commercial. So think real estate.
My name's Mikey Taylor. I really resonated with what Andy said. I was a pro skateboarder. My career lasted about 15 years. And I had to figure out a way to get outside of my career after, and I didn't really know how to make money as a kid. I just made it because I was good at skating. So I started investing in real estate and used that vehicle to give me a cushion to figure out what I was going to do next. And that was one of the biggest things that changed my life once my career ended. And then once it did, I really wanted to start helping other athletes prepare for their future. So I started a real estate fund called Commune Capital. We invest in multifamily apartments. We're building financial freedom for, it started off for other skaters. We have a lot of adversity through our investors now, but essentially that's how I got here, and that's what I do for a living now.
Nice. And so yeah, I love real estate. And like you, I was running towards it in 2008 when everybody else was running out of it. And so before that, I was a wine sommelier. Everybody's making fun of me, oh, the wine guy's gonna go do real estate. I was like, just you wait.
Right.
And so the reason why I love real estate, we've flipped hundreds and hundreds of homes. I've done thousands of deals. And it's for what he just said is cash flow. We buy in certain parts of the country as a firm for cash flow. We buy in certain parts of the country for appreciation. So we buy at different times based on different metrics. But learning how to wholesale, learning how to flip houses, learning how to do rehabs, just learning how to speak the language of real estate for me is wildly important. And it can net you with any kind of future you want.
Awesome. So to give you a little bit more background on myself, me and my dad, who's sitting over there, started a company called Total Property Solutions. We renovate single-family houses for investment funds. We've done over 220 renovations in the past 22, 23 months. So that's my background. But I want to go ahead and open this up to questions. Who here has a question for, it could be directed to anyone. I do renovations. He invests in a ton of real estate. He does a lot of wholesales. Andy does really everything, right? And you also were an agent for a while, yeah. Correct? So if you have any agent questions, probably more directed towards Andy, and then multifamily development and rehabs as well right here. Chris.
A lot of us in this room have made money on social media or e-com, so they have like 25 to 50 grand cash. Whatever they're spending that on is up to them, but if you were in that situation where you had 25 to 50 grand cash to do whatever you wanted to do with it, what specifically would you do with that kind of money?
I think that's probably direct.
I would buy a 4-unit building. I would put 25. I would leave the 25K if I had 50 in as gunpowder if necessary, and then I would raise everybody's rents $50 a door, and then I would suck out $12,000.
That's kind of what I was leading to.
Once another year went by, I'd raise around another $50 a door. I would take out my entire cash-on-cash investment, so now my all-cash in would be zero, and I would go do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
And I'm just going to kind of build up that, because I would do that also, but there is a difference in what I did, which is an option for a lot of people as well. I had my passion. I was skateboarding. That's how I made money, and I really needed to get my money to work for me, but I didn't want a second job. I just wanted money to bring in a return for me that I didn't have to think about. So how I did it, I was investing in either syndications or funds or other people doing it where they were making their money off their sweat equity, and I was making my money off my money riding in the deal. So with real estate, there's so many different ways to do it. For me personally, I'm a big believer in multifamily. I've also invested real heavily in storage units. But as you start getting into it, there's a lot of different ways to make money. You kind of just need to pick the one that looks good to you.
So many ways. Well, let me add to that. I'll add a tail piece of that. So just say if you just just want to be on the passive side, you can become a private lender and lend at 25 or 50K, and if it's sitting in your bank getting less than 1%, inflation is 3%, so you're basically losing 2% a year, just letting it sit in the bank. So you can lend that money at 10 to 12% and do nothing and just collect checks. But make sure that that investor you're lending money to is a credited and trusted investor that you know. So you can lend that money out as a private investor as well.
All right, I actually have a question off of that, because I'm interested in this. How do you become a private lender?
That's a great question. So for people, a lot of people in here, how many people here do like any type of internet marketing, e-com, consulting, Facebook agencies? Okay, so a lot of people that's making money online, that's your active income already. So, if you didn't want to become a real-time investor, flipping houses, wholesaling, or just, being in the in and out grind of real estate, you might want to, might have like some money just sitting in the bank collecting dust is what I basically say. So basically, we're all investors. Well, I mean, we never have enough money in real estate. It's always, we both say like never enough money. So you make sure, you trust that person. And how you become a private lender is we'll bring a deal to you that with the number. Well, how I do it, I have my credibility kit. I'll bring the deal to you, be like, hey, I have this property for $100,000. This is my goal. My plan is to just say fix and flip it, get in and out of it in 6 months. I'll pay you 10% versus your money getting less than 1% in your bank or 401k or IRA account. I'll pay you 10% on your money, and you'll be secured by a deed of trust and a promissory note, and you'll get lender's title insurance. So it's pretty much clean and cut. You get those documents, goes through the title company, and you get a 10% return on your money.
Any other questions? Yes, in the back.
I was actually a real estate agent for 5 years, and I had to buy a house to house my parents for retirement, but I'm looking at investing now. And if you were to buy a property right now, would you buy it cash if you had the cash, or would you use a loan?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead first.
So there's not a right or wrong to that answer. I like using leverage because I'm able to get a bigger return on my money. It's kind of what makes real estate so beautiful, that to buy $1 million property, I don't need to come up with $1 million. With that said, in the cycle we're in, leverage can also be your worst enemy. So if you're going to put down all cash and buy it outright, you're never going to get in a situation being over leveraged and lose the asset. But when you start looking at return on investment and you're really starting to build out a very efficient process for your money to earn, typically it's not going to be that big of a return. So how we like to do it, we typically borrow anywhere from 70 to 80, 85% if there's a large upside. But I love leverage. I think it's such a good way to make a lot of money on a project that you don't need all the money for.
Yeah, for sure. And there's smart debt, and there's really, really, really bad debt. Really positive debt, like you just talked about, is really good leverage, where you can control $5 million worth of real estate for just under $1 million.
Yeah.
But I will say this, in this time frame where everything is very, very expensive, and kind of what we look for something that we can increase value on, so that we're not buying a premium product that has nowhere to go. It's always stuck there, so when a correction happens, we don't lose. We're finding something where we have a big upside, so that if there is a correction, we might lose some return, but there's still return that we're playing with.
So to get that upside, you're renovating, improving the management. What are a couple of things that you do to do that value add?
Yeah, so we'll either do a rehab, which is finding a distressed asset or a really shitty rundown building, and we'll renovate it, or we'll look for a property that we can repurpose into an apartment building. And so for a rehab, we look for rents that are below market and an opportunity for us to it can be as simple as painting the units and kind of changing some of the exterior, to like a full-blown rehab where we rip the whole thing down to the studs and we're really increasing value to it. That would be a way where, how real estate works in apartments. Your rent and expenses are everything. You have your gross income, which is all your total rent. You have your expenses, which give you your net. Your net is what gives you the value of this building. So if you can find something where you can become more efficient on expenses or drive your rents up, the building goes up in value. So it gives you a lot more control than just worrying about what comps you have in the neighborhood. So those are the two keys we look for, how we can increase rents and lower expenses.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Have you guys ever leveraged banks' money to put into real estate, like through like a student loan or line of credit or a loan through the bank to then repurpose it? Say you get a line of credit at 8%, give or throw that into a deal for 15%?
100%. Because there's times where we spend all of our capital, but this deal is so good, there's not a chance I'm gonna let it slide. So I'll go through my whole entire network, and if I can't really put it together through like a syndication like you were talking about, I mean, I don't care what the percentage is. For me, real estate's simple math. I look at the simple metrics. If it makes sense for me to go get crazy hard money at 14%, well, I'll go do it. I'll do it at 40% if it makes sense. It all depends on the deal. Everything is singular based on the deal's math. I don't get emotional about it. I don't get all, oh, it's my dream property. What's the math?
Yeah.
That's it.
When you're starting out wholesaling for the guys at wholesale, after getting a couple deals, how do you make sure that you're getting consistent lead generation and make sure that your marketing systems are in place so that you get that consistent lead gen?
That's a great question. Starting out, what market are you in?
Here in Tampa.
Okay, so it's very competitive here. It's a great market, buying and selling. But I mean, you just got to be consistent with your marketing. If just say if you wholesale 5 deals this month, and then you want to you may wholesale 5 deals, and you made 100K out of those 5 deals in all. You want to, with me personally, I would at least put 35% back in marketing, if not half of that. The more you put in your marketing, the more leads you're going to generate to get a deal. But I mean, it's so competitive in Tampa market. I mean, you're gonna have to put some marketing out to find those direct to seller type deals and leads, because the MLS is just, it's crazy. But what marketing channels are you using?
Right now, I'm just cold calling and then probably get some direct mail going.
Okay, yeah, so those are great ways. I don't know how much you're putting into that, but I'm gonna share a lead generation source that we're using that we're fucking crushing it, man. So stay tuned for later.
Yeah, just to go off that, we're going to get you guys questions. But I actually spent 2 hours with Antonio, and he showed me all of his systems and his lead gen tools that he's going to be sharing in his breakout session. So if you're interested in real estate and finding off-market deals, I would definitely go to his breakout session. I was also at a real estate mastermind called the Collective Genius that me and my dad just joined. And in order to get into the mastermind, you have to do over at least 100 deals a year, flips or wholesales. So a lot of these dudes are really high level, and they're not just cold calling. These guys are doing ringless voicemails. They're still hitting a lot of direct mail, and they have whole systems and processes set up. So if you're interested in that, I can shed a little light on that. I'm not doing that myself. We renovate for others predominantly, and also an investment fund where we're going out and acquire properties right now. We're not finding them off market, but we're looking to find other, good wholesalers that we can consistently buy from, or just people who have a big bulk of properties that they want to sell in bulk to us. I think we have some questions back there.
If you are getting into wholesale investing, what is the smallest amount that you would put in to see like a decent return?
I mean, it kind of depends on your market, but I mean, like 5 or 10, it just depends. I mean, so there's, I don't know how many duplexes that we took down in Cleveland, Ohio that were 40 grand a piece. Like you could buy those for $3 grand down and live there, and you could rent out half of them and live for free. Like, so it just all depends on your market, and it all depends on your stress level, and it all depends on your risk level. Like, you guys have to be wildly self-aware about this, because it makes no sense to give somebody every penny you have if you're not going to sleep for 4 months. Like, so you have to really just know where your threshold is and where you feel comfortable. And if you lose it, you lose it. Money's just a tool, but if you get married to it, it'll crush you.
My rule of thumb, though, for people that's interested in wholesaling and or flipping, just in general, every 5 properties, this is my rule of thumb, every 5 properties I flip, I keep 1 for a hold, because you don't want to flip your life away. It took me, my first 3 years in business, I flipped my life away. I made a fuck ton of money, but I just flipped my life away for my first 3 years of my real estate business, and I look back, I was like, damn, I should have kept that property. I had in the contract, in the crash room, I had a contract for 15 grand. And I could have got $700, $800 a month off of just a 15K purchase. So every 5 properties you flip, keep one for a buy and hold long-term longevity.
As I'm getting more and more into real estate investing, I got actually do real estate lead generation, but as I'm getting real estate.
What you want from it.
I'm gonna add to that. My opinion is it's easier to find money or get money from another individual in real estate versus any other business. You have an asset; it's a tangible thing. We're sitting down in the asset right now. It's a real estate. So if the numbers work, and in the individual or that private investor, you can see that, hey, these numbers work, and they're secured by real estate. It's not hard to really find money. There's money in this room right now. So it's all about networking. And when you bring up the topic real estate, it is a light bulb for a lot of people.